think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out. Lightning in a bottle. I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out.
Yo. How you living? How you feeling? How you doing? It's First Choice Fantasy. We're back today. Alex and I have hats. Brandon has
no hat.
A mop. It counts. Welcome back to First Choice Fantasy. Before you start off anything, let me ask you guys a question, all right?
What's up?
If you were a cat, what would be your favorite cat food?
What?
If you were a cat, what would be your favorite cat food? You know they have the the
Chicken.
dry foods. Would you like dry food?
No, I would like chicken because I have a cat, and I can tell you that the only thing she's really excited to eat is poultry. So
this question, you don't necessarily have to be a cat to have to pick.
Cat food. Well, I wasn't talking about chicken and salmon. I was talking about wet food.
I'm just telling you that she doesn't really give a shit about wet food or dry food, but if I'm eating poultry, she gets very excited. So that's my answer.
My cat likes French fries, so I guess I can't answer the question.
Okay. My cat will not eat anything that isn't birds.
I'll just drink milk.
Is
this going anywhere? Or are we just
going anywhere?
Warm? No.
We're just bullshit.
We're just thrown back to the
good old days.
Beginnings of First Choice Fantasy. Speaking of, I watched a few, and my God, I looked like a caveman.
Your hair was long. It was dripping. It was dripping a little bit.
I
that's what
needed a switch up, so that's crazy. Yeah, you think about yourself present tense, and then you look back a year later, and you're like, "Holy shit! What was I trying to achieve?"
Are you still asking yourself that question? What am I doing with my life?
Well, I wasn't thinking that then, so
you know what you're doing with your
maybe
life?
I will be a year from now.
You're talking about fantasy football. So what do we got today?
I wasn't talking about fantasy football, but yeah.
What do we got?
Looking to achieve a 16-team league championship. That's
not happening. Ed, what do we got today?
Today we're going to talk about
any of our favorites, but
the NFC West. It kicks off our divisional videos about, breaking down each team in the division. No clue why we start with the NFC West. Alex, you want to explain that one?
No, because I just chose the NFC West. I actually thought we were doing the NFC North. And then
that would make sense.
And I saw that we were doing the NFC West. So we're doing the NFC West. Exactly. It was random.
I believe we did a randomized dice draw.
No. I just kind of plopped teams down in slots, and the NFC West happened to end up first.
And in order, how are we going to do this, Alex?
We're going to talk about the teams, and I'm going to lead us off, and then you guys are going to go. I'm going to give a little team review, and you guys are going to get into the fantasy.
A heated team review.
No heat.
So Alex is sitting in the Oval Office with whoever.
Oval Office.
No, don't say that. I don't want to get arrested.
First team, let's hear it.
All right, we are starting off with the Cardinals. The Cardinals are of course coached by none other than Cliff Kingsbury, and I butchered his name like he butchered the Cardinals organization. Now, seriously, this man went 35-40 at Texas Tech. 35-40. And he got a job in the NFL because he's friends with Sean McVay and because he and Mahomes just so happen to overlap. And now that I think about it, it probably makes sense why Mahomes wasn't some generational level prospect, because Kingsbury had him handcuffed the whole time. So now we can look back on that one and figure that out. Your quarterback, actually pretty good. I can't really knock Kyler a whole lot. What's this, his third season coming up?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if he made a Pro Bowl last year, but if he didn't, he deserved it.
Should have. If he didn't.
Viable. But, this division's full of good quarterbacks. So is he good enough to matter? Probably not, if the guy driving the ship is blind. He is. Now, how did the offseason go? The offseason went absolutely fantastic. Brought in J.J. Watt, Alex Mack, A.J. Green, Rodney Hudson. Oh, wait a fucking minute. It's not 2015. It's 2021. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but last season, A.J. Green put up a stat line of 47 catches for 523 yards and 2 touchdowns on 104 targets, which is way too many. The centers are old as fuck. And J.J. Watt, man's seen better days, but they're paying him like it's 2015. So good for Arizona. Now, how did the draft go? Draft go. Managed to get a couple pretty exciting prospects in Zavon Collins. Zavon Collins? I don't know. And Rondale Moore. Collins is a very versatile, very talented linebacker, so I look forward to seeing how they misuse him like they misused Isaiah Simmons last year. Rondale Moore should fit in very well with Arizona's do not throw the ball past the line of scrimmage offense, although, maybe not so much when the defense knows it's coming before the ball is snapped. As for predictions, team-wise, I'll give them a floor of 7-9, and I'll give them a 12-4 ceiling, although, come on now, we both know that Cliffy Boy isn't letting that one happen. That's it, boys. Let's talk about some fantasy. What do we got going on here?
I love to talk
Brandon, you
about
wanna
Cliff
kick it off?
Kingsbury. Started off. I mean, you want to talk about a running back. I know that. So I'll just start with James Conner. I think he's going to be the lead back there. I don't see Chase Edmonds being a starter. I think they attempted it and it just didn't work. So I think they're looking for a lead guy or just a snap share. So who do you think's going to share the snaps with in my opinion, James Conner?
You heard me. You heard me earlier.
Buddy?
It is.
Well, they didn't.
They did not. No, they were not present, sadly. But you guys want to know who the next big thing is in fantasy football? A guy who evaded all the tackles in his one rep. He got a 100% touchdown rate, 100% target rate. That man is Jonathan Ward.
Incredible.
Just
I
wait
didn't
for
even
it.
know he was in the NFL when you told me this. I was like, are you just projecting him to get drafted to the Cardinals or is he on the Cardinals?
No,
Who
I'm
is this
joshing.
man?
I'm joshing. It's definitely going to be Chase Edmonds, James Conner. Conner's probably going to get the Reds. Definitely going to get the goal line work. Probably going to have a lot of touchdowns to carry him in fantasy. I could see that happening. So I guess he's going to be one of those running backs that are like running back landmines, kind of like tight ends here and there. So, I mean, you can roster him if you want for one of those big weeks that he puts up 2 touchdowns. But other than that, if he doesn't have a touchdown that week, it's probably going to be like a 4-point play. So it's going to be high and low for James Conner, I'd say. Chase Edmonds, he's not going to get like a heavy workload like we've seen maybe 4 times in the past 2 years or something like that. But I think Rondale Moore might mix in with some carries too. I want to just put that out there. Definitely going to get screen passes like Alex said on the line of scrimmage because it's how their offense works. But he's a good playmaker too. So, I mean, he might be a person to keep an eye on because he's probably going to get carries, probably going to get short targets. He can make some yards. So just an interesting little running back, I guess you could call him there, even though he's a wide receiver. But, yeah.
I'll point out before you guys move on that Ed did point out to me off camera that there are 17 games. So I'm just going to say the Cardinals forfeited one because Cliff forgot about that.
He
He didn't show
overslept
up.
and didn't
7
book
and
the
10.
flight there.
Yeah.
Busy kicking his feet up on that fireplace in that beautiful house.
Yes,
What are your guys' opinion on Christian Kirk? Is it like a Michael Gallup? Or are you is he lower value? I think he's lower value than Gallup.
My opinion has been stated.
100%. I agree. I mean, the thing is, he is like 23, 24. So, I mean, he still has
24,
a chance to be something notable. Not notable as in like, top 20 wide receiver or anything. But if he has a few weeks here and there, he could be a decent dynasty asset if he goes to a different team and actually, I don't know. There's a chance he could be something.
There's
Like Cole
potential.
Beasley.
Yeah.
I wouldn't completely write him off yet, but I do think he's below Gallo for sure.
I mean, he really hasn't had a whole healthy season. And take that as you may. But
Definitely
I just
nothing
see
to get worked up over, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a one of those sneaky guys you could add that could possibly help you down the road, especially in deeper leagues. Like our dynasty draft we were doing just recently, he was it's 16 teamers. So, I mean, 10th round and 16 teams, probably what, like 13th, maybe 14th round or something like that in a regular draft. I was debating picking him up just for, future or something like that. But, he's not a bad stash in dynasty, but redraft, no way. No way in hell. He's going to be on everybody's waiver wire.
It's just going to be DeAndre Hopkins and 1A and then 1B, 2B, 2A, 2B, 2C. That's what I think it's going to end up being.
The only draftable players I would say on this team outside of, let's just say Kyler definitely, and then the running backs. 100%. I think Connor's probably going to be the favorite come redraft season just because of the touchdowns like we've been talking about. And I think their offense is going to put up some points. But then obviously DeAndre Hopkins. Outside of that, I don't know if anybody's really draftable. Maybe a Rondale Moore target, like dart throw in the 15th round or something like that.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, I'm staying away from everybody else.
I think Rondale has that potential in redraft to be picked up last round and just hold on to, see what he does. But like Alex said, Cliff Kingsbury, I think he kind of caps off these players' like ceiling. So that's my concern with the receivers. I think Hopkins, he's Hopkins. So I don't think it's going to tremendously affect him as we saw last season. But for these lower level guys who need coaching and need a way up, I just don't like this spot. And then there's Max Williams at tight end. I don't know if you guys know. They tried Andy. What's his name?
Milanakis?
No, Dan Arnold. Yeah, tried Arnold, didn't work out. So now it's on to Max Williams. He's been there for, I think,
way
his
too
whole
long.
Career, 6 years. Like, he's definitely not rosterable.
Nobody is. That's it.
Yeah.
Alex, you got anything to say about the Cards?
He said it all in the intro.
Moving on to San Francisco.
Let's get it.
Sir.
San Francisco, your coach, Kyle Shanahan. At least he gets to the Super Bowl. That's better than the last guy, right? Anything's better than the last guy. Now, I don't really have too many negative things to say about Kyle Shanahan. I think he's got some good offense. Clock management taken a little bit out of the Andy Reid playbook, which is not where you're looking. You're looking for clock management. But whatever, I'll save my shots from someone else, and I'll move on to the quarterback. Who's the quarterback here?
Garoppolo, well protected, and intercepted at the 12.
Great question. It's not Jimmy. It's Trey Lance. Let's not act like Jimmy's more than some guy that's just kind of chilling there until Lance gets the green light, which for all we know, he has already gotten the green light. And if not, it's coming pretty soon. So sorry, Jimmy. Now, Lance is a bit of an unknown. Recent history from that school, not very good.
Need 4 from the 15. Wentz throwing, and there's the interception.
Not very good at all. But regardless, I can't wait to see him develop into an above-average starter right as the rest of San Francisco's title-contending rosters fading into mediocrity or have already signed large deals with other shitty teams. How'd the rest of the offseason go? We re-signed Trent Williams to a massive long-term deal. Sure, that won't work out poorly. I'm sure he'll just play out all of those and it'll be fine and no one will have any complaints whatsoever because, it's just the way all of these long-term contracts for 30-year-old linemen work out. Just ask Dallas and Tyron Smith. Other than that, mostly one-year signings, not a lot of cap space. Jimmy's taking up a lot of that right now, so some of that will change once he gets sent packing. But otherwise, it was mostly dudes like Jason Verrett and Mohamed Sanu who unfortunately probably won't make it like 6 weeks into the season for either of them. Other than the draft, other than Lance, not a lot of guys that people are excited about outside of Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. So look for that to end poorly. Other than that, not a lot of offseason activity for San Fran. Couldn't really do a whole lot. So we'll move on to the prediction. And this is a tough one. I feel like if Lance isn't ready or if he's not good and Jimmy has to play, then I'm going to give him like 7-11 as a floor-ish, somewhere in there. I don't think they finish as bad as they did last season. But I'm going to give them the old 13-4 ceiling for that magical scenario where everyone stays healthy and the quarterbacking is legit. However, keep in mind, this just happened 2 years ago. So that luck done ran out. So you better figure out something else.
I can take it.
What do we got
Yeah.
fantasy-wise?
Alrighty, let's start off with the quarterbacks, huh, Brandon?
I think Jimmy G starts the season as a starter.
How many weeks you giving him?
When's their bye week? Is it late season?
I want to say it's like week 7 or something.
No, not a clue.
Yeah.
Let me
same
check
here.
for you.
Far
real
away.
quick.
Yeah, check it out. Get that
Far
number up there. This is important.
away.
Their bye week is week 6.
Not
And they play the
supposed to be
Colts, and they play the Colts when they come back from week 6. I don't know if he's going to come in.
That's
after
tough.
that.
That's tough.
And the Bears directly after that. So
That's
It's a tough one.
I give Jimmy 3 games.
3 games.
But they play
What's
the Lions.
games
They play the
before
Eagles.
the bye weeks? Oh, okay.
Lions, Eagles, Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals.
Seems like a great time to get your rookie QB's feet wet.
Yeah, I'd
That's
say
true.
after week 2 or 3, because you want to start them before the divisional games, and then you get a bye week to prepare for 2 really good defenses. That's my opinion.
I do think Trey Lance would succeed if he doesn't have to wait at all, just because it's the Lions and the Eagles first 2 weeks. It's not anything
fair.
special. Plus, I think Trey Lance is going to be one of the best late round quarterback. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to be late round, to be honest, but there might be a little bit of fear in people because he might not be starting since week 1, but the upside's obviously there. He's going to have crazy rushing yards, crazy rushing stats. The offense as a whole is going to be zooming. So, I mean, I like Trey Lance in redraft for sure.
Yeah. And then you got the running backs, the Arsenal. How do you think these players practice? Like packs on the field, like landmines spread across, like.
Did you
Go
hear
get
how
the
Jeffrey
fumble.
Wilson got injured? Did you hear about that one?
No.
He got
They dig
up out
out
of his
potholes.
chair awkwardly,
Oh, okay.
and he messed up his knee and had to get surgery. That's absurd. It really is. Like, no offense, but like, you're a professional athlete. Like, you have world-class like trainers and
And
stuff.
get out of a
Like,
chair.
can't get out of a chair. Come on, man. That's nothing. That's
Let's practice together.
And to think that people think that Trey Sermon has competition between Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, who does practice with landmines. He doesn't have any competition. Sermon's going to be one of those running backs that I think might just pop on the scene late and get some big weeks, like some
I think so.
15-plus point weeks. I think he's going to be like a
Makers.
great. I don't know if he's going to get 23 carries. If that's what you mean. I don't think he's getting 23 carries or nothing with 60 yards. I don't think that's going to happen, but he's going to have like 15 carry games here and there, like towards the end of the season, and he's actually going to have, playoff saving games, I think. He's
They
one of my
are
favorite
shallow
running
at
backs, I'd say, from this
receiver.
draft.
Like, they got Debo and Ayuk, and it falls off. Like, Mohamed Sanu is listed as their third, but like, he is borderline droppable. That's just off a sleeper, so it's not.
They have Kevin White. Don't hate. Don't sleep.
Yeah.
And they got Jalen Hurd, who is everybody's favorite dynasty stash from a couple of years ago. So,
I remember
That'll work out.
you were loving him.
well, yeah, I mean, he had immense upside, and then he tore his ACL. So it is what it is. Richie James isn't bad, by the way.
Yeah, Richie James has had his games and also vanished.
Now, this is a question. I guess it would be for Alex, but it's kind of out there. This is really freaking crazy for me to even ask this. I don't think it's a thing, but Ayuk, would you put him in the top 15 wide receivers for redraft this coming season? I think it's pretty close. I would put him just outside of it, just based on volume.
Without
alone.
having a name, without having a list in front of me, I would say that he's probably close. But I don't know.
I would put him on a DJ Moore-esque type of like graph, if you know what I mean.
That's
like
fine,
a crazy
man.
amount of yards, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, wide receiver 2, high end for sure. But I don't know. I definitely think the 49ers wide receivers, it's just Debo and Ayuk. I would put Ayuk above Debo, believe it or not. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but for redraft purposes. I mean, when Debo touches the field, he gets like 8+ points every single game. But
Yeah.
I still like Ayuk more, talent-wise. But yeah.
I agree. Not much to
All
talk
right.
about tight ends. George
Yeah.
Kittle.
The fuck is that guy? Who is
George,
that guy?
George Kittle.
Nobody else.
Yeah. He's the third receiver. That's it.
Like the first receiver. Any more San Francisco thoughts?
No.
Nope, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to Seattle. A little Seattle preview. Seattle, of course, is coached by Pete Carroll. You all know about Pete Carroll. You remember the draft? DK Metcalf?
Not for long, though.
Yeah. Too long.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That was neat, huh? Wasn't it? Tough sled now, Pete, that your Hall of Fame caliber defense is gone and you're not committing pass interference every single play. Funny how that works. It's kind of hard to succeed without those things. Can't wait for this next season where we completely overreact to the final stretch of last season and never throw the ball again because 80s football, baby, it's where it's at. Run the ball every single play. And when they're not running the ball, they're going to be throwing it with Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook, huh? Really? Oh, fucking really? How did that go? It's going great in the first half of the season, looking like Chef Ramsay out there, and then we turned into Chef Boyardee in the final stretch. And now he might not want to stay here? Huh, what a fucking surprise. That's tough, man. It must suck to really want that opportunity for years and then just blow it within like a whole season. It's rough. Although, I will say I'm still inclined to blame the shitty coaching, especially after watching the Rams run Seattle's playbook for them last year in the playoffs. I mean, seriously, you don't get an interception like that LA dude did in the playoffs unless you knew that throw was coming. And that man knew it.
It is not a positive for the rest of the team. Watch out here. Picked. Williams.
It's coming. See? Look at it. Did you see it? Did you see it? It was coming. You guys didn't see it because it's not in there yet. But it's going to be in there, and you're going to see it. That man knew it was coming. Now, how'd the offseason go?
They got Chris Carson back?
No, he did. They didn't get Chris Carson. Chris Carson was always there. I challenge you to find me a team with a more boring offseason outside of the Russell Wilson drama. And honestly, I don't care about that because he's still there. And at the end of the day, that doesn't show up on any of the transaction records because he's still there. I don't care how many first-round picks the Bears offered. He's still there. Shit, we had 3 draft picks over here. Fucking 3, 2, 4, and 6. Pete forgot they could draft in odd rounds. Who'd have thought? But hey, at least you got Adams, right? Oh, right. Yeah, that didn't fix a whole lot. Who'd have thought? Our best signing in this offseason was probably an over-the-hill defensive end for a single season. Not even going to bother naming names. They're out there. Find them. They did manage to get Gabe Jackson from the Raiders to play guard, solid guard. I'm sure that alone will make Russell Wilson want to stay. One lineman better than no lineman, right? Am I right? Right? No, not right. No, he'll be gone after this next year. Just wait. My prediction, despite me saying that, I'm going to give him a floor of 9-8 and a ceiling of 13-4 if the pieces fit right. Likely a playoff team. However, leading candidate to lose in the early rounds again. So, like I said, Russell Wilson, last season in Seattle. You heard it here first.
Woo!
You probably didn't hear it here first, but you're hearing it here now. Let's move on to the fantasy. What you guys got?
They remind me of the Bengals of years past with Andy Dalton, AJ Green,
It's a bunch of hoopla.
Marvin Jones, Mohamed Sanu. They would make the playoffs, lose out.
Marvin Lewis
head
wishes
coach.
he won a
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
And Chris Carson did get re-signed to a 2-year deal.
Yeah, but he was already there. He doesn't count as an off-season addition.
Well, he could have left. I'm just
But he
saying
did.
they saved that. It's like Aaron Jones
Boring as fuck.
could have left and came back
But
to
he
the
didn't.
Packers. That's
Boring.
thrilling. I'd be thrilled. No, I'm just kidding. I like Chris Carson. We've discussed this actually just last week. I like Chris Carson. Personally, I like him for 1 to 2 more years in Dynasty. Redraft, 100%. I like him for this year. I think he's got great value where he's getting drafted for, in my opinion, a running back 1 when he's healthy. He does play pretty physical, so very is likely he will get injured, but can't really draft off of that risk. But that's my Chris Carson take. Who do you think is the running back 2 here?
Penny.
Either one of you, Penny.
Gotta be Penny, yeah.
I mean,
I'll give my take on, I guess, Chris Carson real quick. I think I definitely don't like him in Dynasty. We talked about that, like you said last week. But I think in redraft, he definitely has a possibility to, put up points based on, I think this offense is going to be humming again like they were the first couple of weeks last year. So, like, the touchdown possibilities are immense. The only problem still is, obviously, Rashad Penny, who's barely been used as a first-round draft pick. It's a freaking facepalm. But regardless, if there's still a chance he could be used, you know what I mean? So, like, that's the scary part. Then you add in the injuries and whatnot. So, like, there is risk. And the fact that he's older, so people kind of look down on him. So, his draft stock is probably, like, pretty low. I don't know, like, I don't have a number, like, running back 20 or something like that. But if he's, like, a running back 3 on your team, I'd take that by all means. By all means, I'd take that in redraft.
yeah, Dynasty, like, if you're getting Chris Carson, you're getting him and pretty much not going to find a trade partner. I thought I had one lined up a few days ago in the 16-team one, but fell through. Almost had Darren Waller.
Draft's not even over yet, Brandon.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I'd pick him if you're going to trade him.
Huh?
Never mind.
I mean,
Never
if
mind.
it was for Darren Waller, hell yeah. But it fell through. But regardless of that potential trade, it's DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care about any other receiver here. I hardly care about Lockett, to be honest. It's just, I don't know. He's boom or bust. He is the prime definition of boom or bust, like 100%.
Yeah, that boom is like super boom too. That's like
Exactly.
nuclear type.
Exactly.
last year.
Nuclear or like, I don't know,
A nuclear disaster
a pot
or
boiling
nuclear,
over or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's a head scratcher to me. It took Dwayne Eskridge when they could have, it is what it is. But that's definitely it, I'd say, for their wide receivers. Tight end wise, would you say that Gerald Everett is possibly a late tight end target? Would that be an interesting one?
I would say so. Like
He's probably going to be your tight end for the 16-team dynasty league.
Potentially. I mean, if
That's
things
your
fall that
target,
way.
yeah.
Right now, we were talking about this before the podcast. I'm sitting in this 16-team league draft, middle. I think I get the 10th pick, and I haven't drafted a tight end. And I mean, let's just look at the tight ends left,
That's too
or the tight ends.
Bill Disley, tight end 1, Seattle.
It just glitched out.
Bold take.
Tyler Higbee, Zach Ertz, Blake Jarwin, Gerald Everett, Hayden Hurst, Jared Cook, O.J. Howard, Brevin Jordan, Eric Ebron, Anthony Firkser. Yeah, Gerald Everett is on my list of guys who, if it came down to it, I would take. Because, you never know. And tight ends in Seattle actually do stuff, in my opinion. Like, Will Disley had success. Jimmy Graham was somewhat
Jacob Hollister.
There, yeah, Hollister when Disley was off at his rodeos. So I like tight ends in Seattle. So yeah,
Did
he
you
is
say
one.
wait, what? When Dizzy was off his rodeo, is that what you said? That kind of just like flew over my head.
Yeah, that is
I missed that one, I guess,
precisely
huh?
what I said.
Was he at a rodeo?
I don't think so.
No, there.
Definitely
Oh,
no on
okay.
that one.
He's
I
just
thought I missed something.
he's just skipping games to go to his
To go to a
rodeo.
rodeo. The Grand Rodeo, Will Dizzy, what a guy.
Do what you gotta do.
I would say Gerald Everett's a decent late round tight end target, probably for people that don't really believe in those, staple tight ends to carry you in redraft. Gerald Everett's a fine one, I guess, because he might have a few games here and there. I could say that could, be a top tight end that week. It's probably going to come out to be like a, average tight end, but definitely has that upside of weekly possibility producing for you to win a game.
Yeah.
Any more Seattle fantasy content?
No.
More? Yeah. We're gonna take Pete Carroll's approach. Do more of the rant than the fantasy talk.
I don't want to know what Pete Carroll says in the locker room. So let's just do ourselves a favor and let's move on to ye old Rams. Ye old no longer St. Louis Rams. All right,
Sure.
LA Rams. Your coach, Sean McVay, the wonder kid himself. A lot of credit to McVay, honestly. By the time he's 40, he'll have gotten like half the coaches in the NFL a job. And there's something to be said about that. And I'm sure they'll all be really amazing candidates. But this is a pretty important season for McVay. He wanted a better quarterback. Can't blame him there, but management went ahead and provided him with one. So the pressure's on now. If they don't at least get back to the Super Bowl, there were 11 fans. Might be pretty freaking upset. Speaking of quarterback, Matt Stafford now. Matt Stafford. We brought in Matt Stafford with that winning Detroit pedigree. Oh, my bad. Just kidding. Not even close. I actually think Stafford's a good quarterback, and good for him for finally making it out of the tire fire that is Detroit. Unfortunately for him, he's going to get hit a lot here too, because the Rams aren't going to be able to afford or draft any linemen after they spent all their money and picks on like 5 players. So, great strategy there, guys. How did the offseason go? Already touched on the big one. Traded a first-round pick for Stafford, along with a first and a third to Detroit to roster Jared Goff's contract. Outside of that, not a whole lot. We got Deshaun Jackson, who should be good for about 12 snaps per month next season, give or take. Probably a little less. I would take the under. They drafted a grown man who definitely isn't a child pretending to be a grown man. No doubt there. And they better hope he's good, because he'll be on the field quickly after Deshaun limps off with a hamstring sprain after like the opening kickoff that he didn't return. Other than that, a bunch of dudes you've never heard of. Again, not a lot of picks, not a lot of money. The Stafford trade saves them from beating out Seattle for the most boring offseason imaginable, which is good because they were close. Prediction-wise, I think Stafford should be balling out here as long as he's standing upright, which hopefully is a lot of time. And the defense had better damn well be stellar given all of the resources they've sunk into it. So I'll give them a floor of 11-6 and a ceiling of 15-2. That would be impressive, but I'll put it out there. They should be Super Bowl contenders, but it really isn't going to matter because nobody's watching.
Fair.
Gentlemen.
Wait. I may have missed it. You say 15-2?
Yeah.
So it's ceiling of 15-2.
Yeah, okay. I was making sure. I like it. I like it a lot. Bold. I like it. All right.
We're going out big.
Speaking of going out big, we got Matt Stafford, quarterback. Definitely going to be the best late-round quarterback to target in fantasy football. If he's going to be late, I don't even know. He's going to be like quarterback 8 or something like that, quarterback 10. I would take that in a heartbeat. He's going to have crazy amounts of touchdowns. The wide receivers, they got playmakers there. Cam Akers may get some touchdowns. We'll get into Cam Akers in a second. But Matt Stafford, Brandon, let me hear your opinion on Matt Stafford.
He escaped from Detroit. That's all I gotta say. It's a shame that he's 33 years old with back ailments and constant injury concerns. But I mean, he plays through it. And at least for this year, their offensive line should be solid. Last year, they were PFF ranked third offensive line in the league. So,
Good time.
yeah, I mean, like Alex was saying, they can't really put draft capital. So, personally, I could see this being a redraft situation for Stafford. But, I mean, if you believe in their ability to get offensive line and just, use their draft capital correctly, who knows?
I think he's got a couple more seasons, regardless of who they have out there blocking. Even though I fully expect them to have Swiss cheese out there by 2022.
Well, his back is already Swiss cheese, so it's going to get put through a
Working
blender
fine.
in the next few seasons, and that's not too good for the nerves. So
He'll be fine. He'll be all right. He's tough. He grew up in Detroit.
Alrighty. Well, I definitely like Stafford. It seems like we're in a unison there, right?
yeah, I like Stafford for this year.
Alrighty. Running backs: Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson. Do you guys think Darrell Henderson is draftable in redraft?
Redraft?
Not unless
Unless-
you want to handcuff him.
Unless you're the type of person that wants that security of handcuffing your number
Or
one running backs. go
If
for
you
it.
are the type of person that thinks Cam Akers is going to get hurt and you want to spite the person that drafted him in the first round.
Or that. There are a lot of possibilities of drafting Henderson, so I guess, yeah, he is draftable in redraft. I mean,
Alrighty.
who would be going around like Henderson? What, like JD
Anybody?
McKissick?
A
They're
Players
probably
receiver?
players that are in lower tiers than somebody I would say like Gus Edwards. I would assume Gus
I'd
Edwards
take
is
Gus
above
Edwards.
Henderson. Oh yeah. I don't know who else, honestly.
But I think Cam Akers is going to be a stud.
You think he's definitely first round running back?
Late first. I think that's what his ADP will end up being, late first, but I think it's a possibility that we could be looking at him being a top running back next season.
Do you think he's in like the Mixon range of the past few years? Past few
Yeah.
drafts has been seeing Mixon in the late first.
I'd say
I can
so.
dig it.
Mixon,
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs area. Like last season, Josh Jacobs was around that area. And I
Sure.
think he's going to supplant them and go higher.
I'd say the ceiling's a lot higher too for him compared
yeah.
to Mixon and Jacobs previous years, just because the offense I think is gonna like this whole division offensively. I just expect a lot of things, like a lot of points to be scored.
Mm-hmm.
Might break the record for the most points scored by a division of all time. Honestly, I might see that happen. I don't know what the numbers are, but 4 great offenses, I can see it happening.
If the Broncos were to get a quarterback, I think that would be a division to watch out for sure.
I
don't
think
think they're
I
up
think
there with that?
the Raiders kind of handicap it. I'd say.
I don't know. I think they're equivalent to Seattle almost.
That's fair. That is fair.
See? Ed is agreeing.
Points
Alex
wise,
is
I
dazed.
think it does make sense. Not ability
Raiders,
wise. I mean,
or they do put up points. They hang around. I don't
they're
know
forced to
really
put up
how,
points
but
almost.
they
Just
do.
let John Gruden work his magic. He's only been there a couple seasons. You got to give him a few more.
You just did a rant for Pete Carroll and told us all about his.
I can't wait to hear the John Gruden one. That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be exhilarating. All right. I know Ed wants to talk about Van Jeff. But I just want to, real quick, before you hop into that discussion, Alex was mentioned the Deshaun Jackson signing, and I kind of like this has no relevance to fantasy. Well, maybe it does, but like I wonder if they drafted Tutu Atwell to get some training behind Deshaun Jackson. It could be like a veteran signing just to give a young guy some training. Because I mean, he's a speedster like Deshaun. Who knows? That was just in the moment I heard Deshaun Jackson getting signed, and I was like, why would a team sign Deshaun Jackson? Like, I feel like that's just signing someone knowing they're gonna get out there and just get hurt. It's like, I don't know.
So the signings are pretty cheap, so like it's probably
a few plays here and there might be worth like the 2-3 touchdowns going to catch on like 60-yard bombs might be worth it.
I mean, they gave him 2.75 guaranteed, so if he catches 2
Atwell,
bombs,
who
it's
knows? Could be
$1.5
coming
million.
in after that.
It
Solid.
might be worth it. It might be worth a few wins, you know?
I don't know.
Never know.
Find out. Wasn't for us.
Context of that bomb. That's what
See,
matters.
in this situation, there's, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, just like there's DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But in the Rams situation, I'm actually kind of willing to take Tutu Atwell, or like Ed is about to say, maybe. I don't know if you're on Van Jefferson or off of Van Jefferson, but
I'm on.
I mean, I consider taking Van Jefferson. But
The thing is not written up yet, and I haven't yet dived in the numbers. I've glazed over a few things so far, but I think Van Jefferson is my next dynasty dumpster dive. So dynasty wise, I think he's worth going out and trying to get him for the dirt cheap that he is at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I like Van Jefferson more than Tutu for sure. I think Tutu would probably be more so a slot guy just because of how small he is. He's only 155 pounds. Like, that's very bad for an outside receiver. I don't know if he's going to be Deshaun Jackson-esque, but he's fast. He's fast for sure. But I think Van Jefferson's the wide receiver 3 to have here. Redraft, I don't think he's going to be draftable, but he might have a few games here and there that might make him like a popular waiver wire ad. But other than that, I think it's just the top 2 wide receivers for sure.
So I knew you were going to have this discussion because earlier you had said Van Jefferson. You had brought his name up. And then I started thinking of, like, the sophomore receivers around that ADP level, like Bryan Edwards, Denzel Mims, players like that. And I just thought about it as, like, who would I want out of, like, those 3? And what changes my mind and puts myself, like, willing to draft, like, Bryan Edwards, because he's the guy I thought of, like, I like him. Just because of, like, the off season they had. You have the Rams who drafted Tutu Atwell, and then you have the Jets getting Corey Davis, drafting Elijah Moore, and you have the Raiders kind of staying put. Like, do they have
Brown
that confidence?
to replace Aguilar.
Do they have that confidence? And I would say John Brown is a solid ad, but I wouldn't say he's like – I would say Corey Davis is probably more of a solid ad than John Brown at this point in their careers. But I think of who does the coaching staff and the organization has more confidence in. And I see that the second-round draft capital of Tutu Atwell being a little sketchy. And I see the Raiders just signing John Brown. Huh?
What pick was Van Jefferson last year?
I think he was a second round also.
He was a second. Wasn't he higher than Tutu?
Possibly, but they still drafted Tutu.
Draft Van Jefferson.
Tutu was
maybe because they lost the confidence in Van. I mean, I liked Van coming into last season.
Same pick.
I just
try like 25 now.
Yeah. No, Van Jefferson's 24. I thought you said pick 25. It was pick 25.
He's still 24? I thought he was 24 last year.
24
Is this man not age?
Let's see.
All right, this is why you should take
24.8.
Because
25.
Because he's 24 for the rest of his life. A lot of value to be had there.
I think Bryan Edwards definitely of that tier that you just said. I think Bryan Edwards is obviously the top one just because he has a clear path to being the wide receiver 1. I don't think it's, worth an immense amount, I guess you would say, in the Raiders offense where Waller's going to dominate for the next 2 to 3 years, but still something. And they have confidence, like you said, in him, and I think he was a better prospect than, Van Jefferson for sure. But I still think Van Jefferson a dynasty just because, I don't know, this offense, like I said, I think it's going to be humming. And the third wide receiver, they fueled, no offensing, but, Brandon Cooks and Van Jefferson are not in the same tier, obviously. But back when Brandon Cooks was on the team, they helped 3 wide receivers become whatever the hell they were.
Yeah.
And we'll see in the numbers that I dive into for the article and whatnot. I took a brief glance before we did do anything. The Rams' offensive personnel grouping the past couple of years. This past year, they had 3 wide receivers set 61% of the time. When they went to the Super Bowl that year, before they realized Goff was trash, they ran 3 wide receiver sets 89% of the time.
Yeah,
It's something.
they were successful with it.
There's 28% more that the third wide receiver was on the field. So, I mean, 28% more snaps. Last year, Van Jefferson got a fucking insane 25% target per route run, which is also another absurd number. It's up there with some of the best in the league. I don't know.
Valid
There's
argument.
something there.
Yeah.
There's going to be something I formed for the article for sure, but there's pieces here and there. You guys, I'm just going to glue it together. So if
That's
you
what
guys
you're
do
here
want to
for,
see it,
Ed.
if you guys want to
Because-
see it, firstchoicepodcast.com. Probably going to be a week or two. I haven't even written a character yet, but in due time you'll see it posted on that website.
Yeah.
And share it.
Check us out on all Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of the podcast platforms. They're out there. Check us
They're
out.
out there.
They're out there.
Subscribe, like, comment, do it all. We actually have a comment section, or like a contact us, ask a question on our webpage. Do that. Send us questions. That would be fun. Like, give us some questions and we'll answer it on air. Like, how
What is
cool would
hate
that
mail?
be?
Let's do one of those things where we answer negative comments. That sounds funny.
We don't even get negative comments anymore, man. We only get comments from like my mom and then like
Disappointing.
Kat.
Well, tell your mom to start talking some shit.
Yeah, sometimes I like butt dial.
You
or
guys
butt
suck.
comment.
What comment?
It's a thing. Butt
All right.
commenting.
Dad, we might be coming to a close before Brandon says something that gets him arrested.
All right.
Alrighty, boys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out firstchoicepodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter. All the accounts are going to be either in the description or at the end of the video. Check out other videos we got for you. And without further ado, I guess we'll see you next week.
Later.
Peace.